Well, Abhishek, if I may say so, if my memory, recalls it correct, if this perhaps has been the clearest message that has come across from the Indian Army as far as the disengagement plan is concerned. This perhaps is a detailed statement already with regards to what are we really looking at currently when it comes to the disengagement plan. And let me just quickly recap this and then perhaps also tell you what I've been able to quickly gather from my sources also. Important to point out here, mutual consensus to disengage, point number one. Modalities for disengagement from all friction areas in eastern Ladakh were basically discussed. Essentially, Abhishek, I would like to harp on the fact that all friction areas, because 6th June of agreement was essentially only with regards to Galvan Valley, Gogra and Hot Springs. What you are looking at right now is also Pangyang So, because Pangyang So wasn't really something where a solution had come up from both sides in the last co-commander level talks, but I am given to understand that this time in this meeting, India has made it very clear that they essentially need a time frame within which a disengagement plan can be put into place. By when are we looking at those observation posts that have come up, and especially in Pangyang So, because that's where the bone of contention lies. Over 60 Chinese positions between Finger 4 and between Finger 5, patrolling from the Chinese side, earth movers that have been brought in, trenches that have been dug up. So keeping that in mind, India was very firm when it comes to Pangyang So, and in this particular statement, if I'm not wrong, Abhishek, this has been a clear cutout statement that has been put out by the Indian Army, where they're categorically speaking about, number one, all friction areas. Secondly, they're talking about a proper disengagement plan. And third, they're talking about the modalities also as to how exactly the disengagement plan is concerned. How exactly would that work out? When I say modalities, I'm given to understand, Abhishek, that there is a particular time frame that they have been discussing all this while, that right now they want a specific time frame within which the disengagement would work out.
You are absolutely right, Shravan. Time frame is the key, because remember, as per the June 6 understanding, also the Chinese had to go back. They went back and they came back again. So there is an element of mistrust now. And as they say, the proof of the pudding is in its eating. We have to see on the ground, verify facts on the ground. Let me go to General Gurmeet Singh. Mr. Singh, you think that after what happened between June 6 and June 15, we can really trust the Chinese for their word? Or should we wait for them to come back with a timeline and then actually verify it on the ground and then only, believe that proper disengagement has happened?
See, there are two things. Firstly, yesterday's meeting was for 11 hours. 11 hours indicate that this was not a normal meeting and it would have covered all the possible points. Secondly, the biggest casualty on 15 June night was the trust, the limit which the Chinese had crossed. Trust was the biggest casualty of that day. And it was not a casualty of 1 or 2 days. It was casualty of last 70 years. We have had bilateral relationship with them for last 70 years. This year we were celebrating 1st April as a 70 years completion of that bilateral. But that day on 15 June, they mutilated that trust. Therefore, if you take, there are two aspects. One is the aspect of trust and second is the aspect of timing. From 6th June to 15th June, we had trust. We were going by what we had talked in the meeting of 6th June. 6th June was a great day in the sense that an unprecedented level of meeting. We have never ever sent our Lieutenant General for on-ground meeting at the BPM, at the Border Personal Meeting District. But looking at the situation there, we went ahead and all, thinking that yes, let's resolve the thing, let's get into induction, let's get into de-escalation. Let's understand one thing very clearly, that from April end, specifically from 5th May in eastern Ladakh, it is the Chinese who were aggressive, they were provocative, and they were using diversionary tactics. And in fact, what they breached on in this arena was that we have got a border defense cooperation agreement 2013, which clearly states that either side must not attempt to change the status quo. they attempted status
No,
quo
no, sir,
change
Mr.
in this area.
Sir, Mr. Singh. You see, those agreements are now actually, I believe, I believe you would agree with me. Those agreements are no more than a piece of paper now which can be shredded, because the manner in which the Chinese have really conducted themselves this time in the Ladakh sector over the last 2 months, there is absolutely no trust that can be put on them. I want to take this to Saurabh Shukla again, once. Saurabh, you know, the statement is clear. Remember, a more detailed statement would come after the corps commander has briefed the army chief later in the evening. But what is more important is the statement is clear on a couple of counts. It talks about the entire eastern Ladakh sector, which means every point where the Chinese have come in numbers and dug in, including, as Shravan was explaining, the complex situation in the Pangong Tso Finger area, and then of course the Gogra and the hot spring and the Galwan Valley point number 14, 15, 17. What is important is that disengagement, de-induction has to happen within a time frame from all the points of confrontation that has taken place over the last 2 months. So you believe that the Chinese have been bluntly told that the mistake they have made has to be taken back, in the sense that status quo ante has to be established, and it has been told in a firm manner, given the fact that the June 15 incident happened despite an understanding that was reached on June 6, and then again breach of trust happened.
Absolutely. You know, I'll tell you what, the whole reason why you've seen a statement like this coming up is because of the fact that India's firm stance has been that the Chinese must disengage in a time-bound manner. And I completely agree with you that the past has completely been forgotten now. No longer those agreements hold. That's the reason why you see Indian Army has been given a go-ahead to be aggressive. It requires to deal with Chinese. Also, they cannot be, this is the new normal with China, will be that India will deal with China in a more aggressive manner in all aspects that it has ever done. Because we have come to a realization that despite our best efforts to mend ties with China, both diplomatically, strategically, China has betrayed us. And this betrayal has caused a complete, you know, I would say a 360-degree evaluation of our policies, which are good in India's largest strategic interest. And you will see that India in the days to come will be more aggressive. Our, corps commanders, our people on the ground will have more elbow room to exercise that control, over the situation there. Because earlier, a lot of things were dictated by Delhi because of the earlier conventions and some of these agreements which came in our way. Now that by doing this, China has also ensured that it has made India realize that these are new strategic realities it is dealing with, and it has to deal with China more aggressively. This is what you're going to see in the next few days, Abhishek.